What's up, Grace Report? Happy Monday. How's everyone doing? What is up? Hold on here. What is up, Tammy, Wendy, Julissa? Matthew? Wendy's saying, I hope you're okay, Wendy. Wendy goes, hold on, let me see if I can find it. No power and cell service 3 days. All bridges washed out or closed. East Nolachucky closed and no way in or out until yesterday. Wow, that's crazy. But I'm glad you're okay, Wendy. What is up, D Nice? How's it going? How's everyone's Monday doing? I hope people on the East Coast are mending. I see a lot of the damage from the hurricane. Joanne, how's it going? How's your Monday? Did anyone do anything interesting over the weekend while we wait for people to trickle in? I watched The Penguin on HBO or on Max. It's not called HBO Max anymore. I watched Penguin. I am enjoying it, though I did not like Robert Pattinson's Batman. I did like Penguin from that Batman era. And it's pretty good so far. It's kind of like a mobster type of you don't realize you're watching like a Batman character. You feel like you're in a mobster type of series, which is kind of cool. And you kind of the bad thing is you feel for Penguin. So you're like, no, you kind of have a feel for him. Like you don't want anything bad happening to him. Like that's how well they've shown like that character. So if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's on Max. There's 2 episodes up now. I'm rooting for him. I know he's the bad guy, but I'm actually rooting for him. I liked Catwoman from that too as well, but I didn't care for Robert Pattinson as Batman. And I hear they're making a second one, and I'm like, Carol, how's it going? Wendy goes, Mayfair Witches is cool. I've seen that, but I haven't checked that out yet. There's movies that I can't wait because October is looming. We are on October Eve today. Today is the last day of September. So I cannot wait for all the new movies that are coming out on October 1st, which is tomorrow. Finally, I don't know why I'm so excited because the first one was so bad, but I've been anticipating it. Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is going to be streaming tomorrow on Peacock. James Wan also has a series called Teacup, and as well as Mickey's Mousetrap, which has Steamboat Willie, Doning Mask Killer. Been waiting to see that since I heard it was coming out, so I cannot wait. There's also I don't even know how to pronounce it. It sounds kind of interesting. I'm gonna check it out. I haven't checked it out yet, but it's on Hulu FX. It's The Grotesquerie. Salem's Lot. Also, if you guys are a fan of Steven, I can't think of his name. I went blank. I went blank. Oh my god. Well, it's coming out October 3rd. And then if you guys are a fan of the VHS franchise, that movie as well is coming out on Shudder on October 4th. And then the anticipated Joker Electric Boogaloo is also coming out in theaters on October 4th, with Terrifier 2 or 3 following suit on October 11th. D Nice goes, I watched True Blood for the first time. The closest we got to Rogue and Gambit, Anna Paquin. Cool. Carol has already found the duck. As always, guys, since she's already mentioned it, Skeleton Duck is somewhere in this background. Just remind me by the end of the stream, and I will reveal his location. I'm pretty sure everyone in here knows who Skeleton Duck looks like, but just in case he is pictured in my upper left-hand corner, your upper right-hand corner. I always said upper right. I don't know which one. But that is what he looks like, and he is hidden somewhere in this background. Just remind me at the end of the stream, and I reveal his location. Matthew goes, I have the original Salem lot on Blu-ray. Super cool. There's also two, if you guys have Paramount Plus, I haven't had a chance to check it out. It's the prequel. If you're a fan of Rosemary's Baby, it's kind of what I call an Mind F. It's more of a psychological thriller, but the prequel to it is out. It's called Apartment 7A, and it is on Paramount Plus now. If you guys have it, those are some of the spooky things I'm going to be checking out next month, which is tomorrow. I can't believe this month has already gone by so quickly. And we will commence the spookiness even more spookier. Lisa Bugo, Salem Lot. I hope it will be cool. Love the original. I've never read the book, but I saw the trailer. It looks kind of cool. Stephen King. Thank you, Matthew. I literally had I could not remember his name. The older I get, I'm forgetting things. It does happen. I see women say it, and I was like, nah. And then now it's happening to me. So, yeah. Wendy goes, is Peacock really worth it? If you guys have, I don't think it is, but because I'm mostly on Max. I pretty much have them all, but I'm pretty much on Max and Netflix. Those are like the two that I kind of religiously watch. Shudder, I watch every once in a while. Peacock, I mean, if you have Walmart Plus, you get it with your subscription. I have Walmart Plus, so it comes with it. So if you do have Walmart Plus, it comes with your subscription. I'm talking about it like it's meds. Subscription. And then it's worth it, but I don't think going out of your way to get it's worth it. I feel like Max and Netflix are probably the better two, though the prices keep going up and up, but that is the sign of the times, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that happens. And today we have a warm-up this week in SoCal, so I was kind of dying. It wasn't that bad, but I went out walking in the hottest part of the day, and I was like, oh, I forgot what this heat felt like, because we had such great weather the last 3 weeks. And so October decides to hit us with a bang, and we have a mini heat wave going. It's not that bad. I don't think it's going to break 100 here in my area, but I know in some areas it will. D Nice is asking, will you finally do the Tesla Cemetery Drive in October? I should. I need to. Wendy goes, I get Max free from Apple Plus. I did not know that. That's kind of cool. I don't have Apple Plus, but I didn't know that. That's good to know. Matthew goes, I have Spectrum and get Paramount Plus for free, along with Disney Plus, Charter, and other places. I get Max from AT&T, grandfathered in. That's super cool. I just have to get a hold of a Tesla. That's the only problem. No, I've got another idea for the Tesla, and it's not going to a cemetery, because we do have one of the I don't know if it's the most haunted location here in SoCal, but there has been over 150 deaths at the specific bridge, and I came up with the idea of driving a Tesla over the bridge, but at night, probably like in the middle of the night when there's hardly anybody, because they say allegedly it's haunted. So I've always thought, hey, why not drive a Tesla over it? It is the Colorado Street Bridge, or the S Bridge. So that is one of my ideas, to drive down like a known creepy location. Because I feel like that's kind of better. You could do that at any time, type of drive, type of thing. Because some of the cemeteries close early around here. Um, so you kind of have to do the cemetery thing during the day. And I thought, well, something kind of cool would be going, like, why don't I do that? But I know there's probably people on there, but I'll make sure I'll check to make sure there's no people. D Nice goes, have you blown the dust off your DJ equipment? I do. I practice. In fact, I'm probably gonna mix today, but I don't stream it because I don't have the streaming connected over there. But I do practice. Wendy goes, I live so far in the sticks I can't get cable nor public water unless I pay 5K to run lines. Wow, Wendy. That's crazy cool. Crazy and cool at the same time. Wendy goes, just record it, Lisa. Well, I could do that. Wendy goes, I have natural Spring Creek. Spring Creek? That is cool though. That is cool. You kind of live outside of civilization. That's kind of nice and peaceful in a way. It's crazy cool. All right, guys, before I get into the Telchines, the crazy sorcerers of Greek mythology that even the gods feared, I'm going to wait a few more minutes for people to trickle in. Um I actually found this kind of article intrigued me because it said the most affordable haunted hotel in America. And I was like, where? D Nice goes, you have a SoundCloud, you can sample your tracks you create. I do, but not under my DJ name. I have a personal one. But you know what? I could do that too. I didn't think of that. Um, but I would have to still get my computer over there. I'll have to figure. I'm thinking of ideas, so you got to give me some time here. Um, because it said most affordable, I was like, yeah, right. So it goes Stillbach Hilton, Louisville, named one of the most affordable haunted hotels in America. Especially because nowadays everything seems to be going up in price. I see everyone, oh, the price went up. I guess the camping for EDC just went up, and everyone is saying, oh my God, it went up. I go, well, it's the sign of the times right now. Everything's going up. While once frequented by raucous author and hard-boiled gangsters, the Steelbach Hilton Louisville is now host to a bevy of phantoms and paranormal investigators, and it may be one of the best haunted trips in America if one research study is to be believed. According to a press release by travel advice blog Miss Tourist, one of the downtown Louisville's oldest standing building was rated among the top 10 most affordable haunted hotels in the United States among 60 other countries. If you guys are in this area and want to check it out, it is affordable. Here's all you need to know about the Steelbach Hilton and how you might land a haunted stay this October. Louisville's Steelbach, once frequented by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Al Capone. The Steelbach Hilton Louisville has been the ideal of luxury living in Kentucky for over 100 years. The hotel was founded by Bavarian-born brothers Louis and Otto Steelbach in 1905, with the brothers using ornamental torches from around the world, browns from France, hardwood from the West Indies, Irish linens, and Persian rugs to bring the hotel to a level of opulence that would attract visitors in the masses. It was also a local haunt to many stars in the early 20th century. During the 20s, one of the hotel's regular visitors was Al Capone, who routinely visited the hotel for gambling and bootlegging. According to the Steelbach website, Capone's favorite room is immortalized with a few of his personal touches, such as a large mirror he'd sent from Chicago. That room also has hidden doorways behind panels and led directly into secret passageways. The historic oak room where Al Capone often played poker is reportedly haunted. The seal box is also widely known to have served as inspiration behind F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. I can't read today. While training in the army at Camp Taylor, Fitzgerald is said to have used his weekend passes to visit the Seelbach to relax and sip on bourbon. He was even allegedly banned from the hotel at one point due to his behavior after having one drink too many. That's a lot of people that tend to do that sometimes. During his visit, Fitzgerald met George Remus, a gangster who became the model for Jay Gatsby. His experiences in the Seelbach elegant rooms inspired Fitzgerald to use the hotel as a model while writing the classic American novel. The hotel pays homage to Fitzgerald with Gatsby on 4th and in-house breakfast spot. It's giving me a tongue twister. Is the Seelbach Hilton Louisville's haunted? The Seelbach has been known to host more than a few ghosts, including the Lady in Blue. Oh my God, it's not a lady in white. I'm intrigued. On July 14th, 1936, a woman's body was found at the bottom of an elevator shaft at the Seelbach Hotel. Historical records show she was identified as a 25-year-old Patricia Wilson, and over the years, many theories floated around the circumstances of her death. The first theory was that Wilson jumped to her death after receiving the devastating news of her fiance's death. Another theory, based on an eyewitness statement, claimed Wilson was seen arguing with a man named Brigadier General Henry H. Denhart. Wilson's body was laid to rest in Evergreen Cemetery, 4623 Preston Highway. For a long time, there was no headstone at the grave until the last 3 members of Wilson's family were located and visited Louisville in 2019. That is sad to not have a gravestone until 2018. But at least she was laid to rest. According to the family members, Wilson had been from a small town in Oklahoma and moved to Louisville with her then husband. Her true name was also revealed to be Pearl May Elliott. The headstone marks her resting place at Evergreen Cemetery. Pearl M. Elliott, 1910 to 1936. She was young. A.K.A. Patricia Wilson, Lady in Blue. The Lady in Blue is most often sighted on the 8th floor where she jumped or was pushed to her death down the elevator shaft. No one knows. That's kind of sad. Maybe if you go there, might get some answers. How much does it cost to stay at the haunted Seelbach in Louisville? While price varies based on the time and room availability, a night at the Seelbach Hilton Louisville averages around $168. That's still kind of pricey, but considering one of those hotels I was looking at previously, it was like $500 a night, so this is nothing. To view available rooms and suites, visit or look up Seelbach Hilton, the Seelbach Hilton website. What is up, Nerd Report? I think I saw Nerd Report somewhere and somebody said hi to him. It is a sad story. It's kind of sad, but luckily she was laid to rest and they were able to find her family. But it wasn't until 2018. And we finally got to know her real name. Wendy goes, 500 a night. I'm staying at the Wharf in Boston. I know, I might as well stay at a 20-star hotel for that price. Where I'm haunted by, celebrities of elegance or something. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my butt. But Julissa goes, ladies in blue are cool. Yes, they are. It's a little different than the lady in white or the lady in gray that we're used to hearing. I do like hearing different ladies of different colors because it's always the stories that come around. It is always the lady in white or the lady in gray. It's nice when you hear a different color. I don't know about you guys. Lisa Boo goes, you know what, Lisa Boo, I was thinking the same thing. Wonder if there will be a lady in red, because I will definitely, my favorite color is red. So I will definitely be in awe if I saw a lady in red. And there's a song about it too. So we could play the song. Especially if they say a lady in red waiting for her long lost love, because it's usually a lady in black that do that. But Matthew goes, also there's also a movie, Lady in Red, as well. Not about ghosts though. You guys, I think I saw that like a long time ago and I don't remember it. All right, guys, have any of you heard of the Telchines? They are the malevolent wizards from Greek mythology. I do like to dabble in mythology. I like folklore as well. So I never heard of them. I found this kind of interesting. It just popped up by accident when I was searching for things. Kyle goes, "Yep." What's up, Kyle? I have never heard of them. They're kind of intriguing. Even the gods feared them. The Telchines, or the Telchines, were malevolent wizards and respected artisans who forged weapons for the gods and who were feared for their destructive magic. The Telchines were thought to be the original inhabitants of the island of Rhodes. They were also present on Ceos and Crete. Hesiod called them malignant wizards, and Ovid celebrated their legendary skill as artisans. They were described as fish-like creatures and demons who acted as guardians and nurtured Poseidon and Zeus. Although they often helped the gods, their hubris and lust for power eventually led to their downfall. I think that happens to a lot of people. They let things get to their head, and it eventually or they have so much confidence that they let things get to them, and the outcome is not what you think it is. So I totally get that. It happens to people now. The origins of the Telchines. The origin of the Telchines is a topic of debate based on different Greek and Roman sources. Some account suggest that they are the offsprings of Tartarus, the primordial father of monsters, and Nemesis, the goddess of retribution. Other sources claim that the Telchines are the children of the primordial gods Pontus and Gaia, the personification of the sea and the earth, respectively. Still, others believe that Thalassa, the female personification of the sea, is their mother. Every time I think of Gaia, there used to be, what was it? It was a sobe drink that was called Gaia. There was a drink that was called Gaia. So whenever I read Gaia, I think of that drink. Carol goes, "I've heard of them in Greek mythology class in high school." You had a Greek mythology class in high school? That is so cool. Wendy goes, "Anyone is dispensable." Lisa Boo totally goes to their head. Matthew goes, "Captain Planet." And another version, the Telchines were created from Uranus's blood. Uranus was the primordial god and personification of the sky. Uranus was castrated with a Sith by his son, and no, it's not the Sith from Star Wars, the Titan Kronos. In the version, the Telchines were formed when Uranus's blood dripped in onto the earth, similar to how the Furies and Aphrodite were created. Some also say that Poseidon was their father, but the account contradicts the limited information we have about these ancient beings. D Nice goes, one of my meditation classes, we focused on Mother Gaia. I know there's some I don't know if there's some practices that follow that do worship different gods and goddesses, so as well. The Telchines have multiple origin stories, but each shares some critical narrative threads that help establish a broad image of their creation. They are also almost always described as the children of protogeno protogenoi, the primordial gods who established the tangible fabric of the universe. I know I'm butchering some of these names. I do apologize in advance. Gods, do not come on me. Although these primordial deities are called gods, they were more closely connected to the foundational elemental forces they presided over. They are seen as the personification of these forces more so than a deity that ruled over them. The Telchinese association with the protogenoia or Geno confirms that despite their relative ambiguity, they were very ancient beings that existed at a time similar to the Titans and before the Olympian gods. Another similarity among the Telchinese origin stories is their connection with the sea. Although the theme is less prevalent than their association with the primordial gods, the Telchinese connection with the sea provides some insight into their later roles in the early mythologies of ancient Greece. Wendy goes, I learned it in middle school. Wendy had Greek mythology in middle school? That is cool. I didn't have anything like this in high school or middle school. Julissa, I missed Greek mythology in school. I was at a Christian school. So what did they look like? The Telchinese were strange creatures associated with the scene, often referred to as fish children. They were known to have fin-like hands and dog-like heads. Description of them are similar to those of merfolk, with some accounts stating that they had a fish's lower body and a human-like upper body. Their skin was described as rough, like echinoids or sea urchins, which are hard shelled sea animals with venomous spikes. However, the Telchinese were not limited to the sea and were also said to be able to walk and live on land. Due to the limited information available about the Telchinese, description of them are fluid and varied, allowing them to adapt to different settings and functions underwater and on land depending on the accounts. I kind of got to read this slow because some of these names are like tongue twisters, and and I don't want to like stumble over them too bad. The Telchinese are complex, and I'm still stumbling. Are complex creatures with both benevolent and malevolent qualities. Their duality can be attributed to their two most prominent features: their formidable magical abilities, often referred to as demonic, and their unmatched metallurgic and artistic skills. And it makes sense that their magical abilities would be demonic because they were doing something that was out of the ordinary. And a lot of times back then, when you did things out of the ordinary, it was considered witchcraft, or in this case, demon work. Dusty, what is up? The Telchinese were renowned for their extraordinary magical abilities that define their very existence. They were often referred to as sorcerers or wizards by ancient writers, and cautionary tales were told about the dangers of their powerful magic. Calling them sorcerers and wizards make them more interesting, I think. So I don't blame them for calling them that. The Telchinese had the ability to control nature itself, and their powers were believed to be on par with those of the mighty Olympians. They could create lightning and snow, manipulate the seas, and even bring about devastating earthquakes. Furthermore, the Telchinese could produce a poisonous substance that could harm all living things. It seems like, you know how certain gods had certain abilities? It seems like the Telchinese can do all the abilities that one god had the ability to do. So that no wonder the gods feared them, because they had more power than them. Emily, thank you for gifting one membership. Welcome, KB, to the Wolfpack. Hearts for Emily. Thank you, Emily. I really appreciate that. Hearts for Emily, guys. So, like I was saying, no wonder the gods feared them. They could do I feel like they could do a lot more than what they could do a plethora of things compared to some of the gods or goddesses we had read about. In addition to their power, the Telchines could change their shape at will. However, their use of magic was mostly malevolent. They were known to cause harm and curse innocent people, making them a destructive, getting tongue twisted, force to be reckoned with. The Telchines were accused of committing a heinous act by mixing the waters of the Styx with sulfur in their hands and pouring it over the fertile fields of Rhodes. This act resulted in the destruction of all plant and animal life on the island. On top of that, they were evil. Leonor, what is up? So you definitely would not want evil sorcerers in your presence. The Telchines were feared for their magical abilities, but they were also known for their exceptional skills as artisans and metallurgists. They were believed to be the first to work and shape iron and bronze into tools and weapons. Their excellent skills as metallurgists, I know I am butchering that as well, I do apologize, led to the creation of remarkable objects that benefited the Titans and the Olympians. Their creations cemented their status as some of the most skilled artisans of their time. The Telchines created two of Greek mythology's most famous magical artifacts, the Scythe of the Titans Kronos and the Trident of Poseidon. The Scythe, and no, we're not talking about Darth Vader, of Kronos, used to castrate Uranus, the primordial personification of the sky, was the first weapon created in the mythological canon. The Trident of Poseidon is also one of the most identifiable symbols from Greek mythology, often used to represent both Poseidon and the Telchines themselves. When I was reading about what the Telchines looked like earlier before the stream, I was thinking of an evil. Oh my god, I cannot talk today. An evil Aquaman. I'm getting tongue twisted today. That was what came into mind, an evil Aquaman, when I was reading about them. I was like, well, what did they look like? The Telchines' metallurgy skills were not always necessarily benevolent. For instance, Hephaestus tasked them with assisting him with forging Harmonia's cursed necklace. Despite their cursed nature of the creation, the Telchines were still working for the benefit of the Olympians, in contrast to their use of magic often performed in opposition to the gods. The Telchines were known not only for their skills in metallurgy, but also for stone sculpting. They were the first to create marble statues for the gods, and the ancient Greeks highly regarded their masterpieces. According to the historian Diodorus Siculus, the Telchines were responsible for crafting statues. Oh my God, Lisa. Statues of Apollo and Hera on the island of Rhodes and Lindus and Chimerus, respectively. Thank you, Wendy, for your super chat. My late night spooky girl. Much love. Hearts for Wendy, guys. Thank you, Wendy. I'm going to give you a heart. Thank you, Wendy. Wendy, thank you for giving me a much needed break from that article. It's for some odd reason it's tongue twisting me. I think it's because of all the names, and now it's tongue twisting me with the rest of the words and the sentences. Raising the gods. There are two interesting myths about the Telchines, both of which involving raising two important Olympian gods. According to one myth, the Titaness Rhea entrusted the Telchines with caring for Poseidon, the future sea god capo capo capoeira. Oh my god, that almost sounds like capoeira, like the martial arts capoeira. Maybe that's capo. I don't know how to spell capoeira, but that's kind of what the spelling looks like. An oceanid sea nymph who nursed the infant Poseidon aided them. The Telchines' close association with Poseidon was further strengthened when they created his trident after he gained power over the seas. According to some versions, Leonore goes, yes! I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me, so I'm going to go with it. According to some versions of the myth, the Telchines were crucial in Zeus' upbringing. In this version of the myth, Rhea takes 9 Telchines from Rhodes to create and tasks them with protecting and nurturing Zeus in a cave on Mount Ida. These 9 Telchines were later known as the Carets, and they protected the infant Zeus from his father, Kronos, by performing a frenzied dance. During this dance, they also banged their shields and spears together, excuse me, to drown out the sound of the infant's cry. Give me a second, guys. The association between the Telchines and the Carets is not certain. The Carets were also considered daemons or spirits like the Telchines, but they presided over mountains, hunting, beekeeping, and shepherding on the island of Crete. Unlike the Telchines, the Carets had one connection to the sea. However, both the Telchines and the Carets are credited with inventing metalworking. It seems that this shared similarity, along with their respective care for an Olympian, led the two groups being merged into one at some point in history. The downfall. And of course, there's always a downfall when it comes to these stories, unfortunately. One constant theme in myths about the Telchines is their eventual downfall. The exact catalyst for their downfall was the Telchines' hubris, as they turned to evil magic and lusted for power. The Telchines are benevolent servants of the gods and vindictive sorcerers, but these depictions do not occur simultaneously. It seems that initially the Telchines began as dedicated servants of the gods and titans, offering their skills as artisans and protectors. The Telchines' behavior took a turn for the worst after they created Poseidon's trident. They became engrossed in pursuing methods to create more powerful items and fixated on acquiring other means of power. It's kind of like the ring in Lord of the Rings. The Telchines tapped into new and destructive types of magic that allowed them complete mastery over the weather and the earth. This new obsession transformed the Telchines' reputation from respected artisan entrusted with the care of Rhea's sons to malevolent sorcerers who jealously coveted their power. The Telchines began to cause harm and place curses on any who tried to learn their secret art. I think anyone would do that because they wouldn't want anyone to know their secret. So that seems natural to anyone to do that. The Olympians became concerned about the Telchines' use of destructive magic. However, the final straw was when they mixed the waters of the river Styx with sulfur, poisoning all living things on Rhodes Island. The reason for this act of destruction is not apparent in many sources. In a later Roman account by Nonnus, it is suggested that the Telchines performed this foul magic as revenge against the Helades, who had driven them from out of Rhodes. The Helades were the 7 sons of Helios, the sun god, and Rhode, a sea nymph goddess who personified the island of Rhodes. Leonore goes, dun, dun, dun! The downfall. I should have done that. Missed opportunity. Matthew was the precious. Leonore goes, I love all Greek mythology. The Romans tried to take it. I'm like, nope. There are different versions of the story of how Telchines were destroyed. In some accounts, Zeus destroys them with thunderbolts or creates a flood that sinks them into the sea. Other versions claim that the Telchines were driven off the island of Rhodes when Zeus caused a great deluge to punish humanity, and they weren't explicitly killed for their malevolent magic or hubris. In other versions, Poseidon destroys the Telchines using the trident they created for him. In some accounts, Apollo transforms into a wolf and kills the Telchines, leading to their demise. After being defeated, the Telchines were banished to Tartarus by the gods. In that account where Apollo transforms in a wolf and kills the Telchines had many powers. So that wolf must have had 1,000 times more to be able to defeat them. Unfortunately, very little information about the Telchines has survived over time. Although several ancient writers mention them, they only do so briefly and often present contradictory image of these elusive beings. Unfortunately, a lot of these stories weren't written down, so it's kind of sad. We will never know like the true the true source of the story. It's usually based on memory or based on what someone might have heard that could have came from someone else that wasn't the exact story. So it's kind of sad, but it's still kind of cool that we do have these stories today to read. The Telchines are often confused with other mythological figures like the Cyclops, who lived underwater and forged Zeus's thunder, the Koretts, dancers from Crete, and the ancient smiths and healers, the Dactyls. These strange and rustic figures share a common talent for metalworking and, to some extent, control over nature. However, their unique duality sets the Telchines apart as celebrated artisans and demonic wizards who possess the ability to both create and destroy. The Telchines illustrate how myths and stories can manifest figures over history, shifting and changing to suit context and narrative. And that is correct. This article ended perfectly. Stories also changed with um their their surroundings. So the story of Krampus changed when Christianity came about to suit Christians. So it's how it makes perfect sense. Delea! Where Dusty goes, were they telepathic? It didn't say, but it kind of I would say they were. I Google it, says there isn't much information about the Telchines being telepathic. It does say, like I had mentioned in the article, the Telchines were sorcerers, demons, and wizards who were said to have destructive eyes and aspects. They could change their form, bring on rain, hail, and snow, and produce a poisonous substance. But I feel like something along the line, they, considering the amount of power that they had, I would think. Lisa Boo goes, I keep thinking telekinesis. I keep wanting, I know I have to stop myself when I read it. I don't think I ever want to cross paths with the telekinesis. They seem like before they let the power get to their head, they seemed like they were a great protector. But once they, like I said, I mentioned the ring. Once they got a hold and created um the staff, that was when everything went downhill. Because they wanted to make more powerful things after that, which usually happens. Because I mean, once you make something powerful, you want to, you want to make something better than what you did before. Poseidon's trident got to their head, in other words. But I do find them interesting. What do you guys think of the Telchines? And would you ever want to cross paths with them? And if you could go back in time, would you tell them to not let the power get into their head? Dusty goes, always a better mousetrap. Yeah, there's always, some people are so engrossed in what they do and what they create that it gets to their head and sometimes makes them mad. So I see how that could make them evil, and them using their power that they had as an evil force instead of being what they were, like a protector of Zeus, kind of. Lisa Boo goes, very interesting. I would be cautious with them. Emily goes, just say no. Leonardo sounds like the Odyssey by Homer. I never read that one. Julissa goes, very interesting. I don't think I want to cross paths with them. I don't think either. It would be cool to go back in time. If I could go back in time, you know what? The funny thing is, whenever I said if you could go back in time, I never say back to the time when gods ruled the world, walked the earth. I kind of want to now because I find it interesting and fascinating. But I think I would stay away from some of the gods and goddesses and the creatures that they had back then. Leonardo goes, read Homer if you're all interested. Maybe one day I'll catch it. So keeping on with the legends and folklore and urban legends, I know this is one that I've talked about a lot. It's kind of probably one of the ones that I knew growing up, and also in high school, because I did take Spanish classes in high school. They did mention her. Is the legend of Ya Llorona. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of fascinated with her. That's probably why I talk about her all the time. I would not want to cross her paths. I did see the movie. It wasn't I felt like, I know there's a bunch of movies that depict Ya Llorona, but I feel like some of the older ones are better than the newer one that came out a couple years ago. It seems like it probably sooner than that, but time goes by quickly. Wendy goes, I don't look for the spooky. It finds me and makes me curious, if that makes sense. It does. Carol goes, I like learning about Greek mythology. This is quite interesting. Same here. You guys were blessed to have it in high school and in middle school. I did not have it, or I would have been probably double A pluses in that class. But I did find an article about Ya Llorona, and I do talk about her a lot because she's one of the ones that fascinate me. After drowning her children, in a moment of rage, Ya Llorona killed herself out of guilt and became a ghost doomed to haunt bodies of water for all eternity. Patricia Lujan was a young boy in New Mexico in the 30s when a normal day with his family in Santa Fe was interrupted by the sight of a strange woman near their property. The family watched in curious silence as the tall, thin woman dressed in all white crossed the road near their house without a word and headed for a nearby creek. It wasn't until she got to the water that the family realized something was really wrong. As Lujan tells it, she just seemed to glide as if having no legs, before disappearing after reappearing at a distance far too quickly for any normal woman to have traversed. She disappeared again for good without leaving a single footprint behind. Lujan was disturbed but knew exactly who the woman had been. Ya Llorona. The legend of Ya Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, is a deeply rooted tale in Mexican and southwestern U.S. folklore. Although the origins of the story have been lost to time, Ya Llorona is consistently described as a sorrowful, ghostly figure who wails near bodies of water, mourning her lost children. Some versions of the story trace to her Aztec mythology, connecting her to the goddess like Chuaco. I am going to butcher this. I do again. I apologize. The Chiacotl, the snake woman, and the Chao Chuluku. Oh my god, I do apologize. Who both had associations with water and child sacrifices. Others suggest Ya Llorona may be a version of La Malinche, the indigenous woman who played a crucial role during Hernan Cortez's conquests of Mexico and is said in some retellings to have killed her children after being betrayed by Cortez. Across different retellings, the central elements remain the same. A woman haunted by the loss of her children weeps by the water. Leonori goes, yes, there's several, but they did. When was it? It was recent. Leonor asked if there's a movie about this, about Ya Llorona. There is, but it came out a couple years ago, I think. 2019. It was called The Curse of Ya Llorona. Or La Llorona. I said Ya. I did not like that movie. I think I saw a movie. There's so many. I saw one before that I felt, I don't even remember um who made that film, but I just came across it by accident and I felt like that was better than the 2019 one. Scully Star Fashions, what is up? Lisa Bugo, there's a woman on the lake too, right? So many curse words. Yes, there is. Matthew goes, a movie and an episode of Grimm before the film did it. The Grimm episode is great. And I'm sure there's so many. I'm sure they've probably mentioned it in other like TV shows as well. Aztec origins of La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. The legend of La Llorona translates to the Weeping Woman and is popular throughout the southwestern United States and Mexico. The tale has various retellings and origins, but La Llorona is always described as a willowy white figure who appears near the water wailing for her children. And again, a lot of these stories, like I said, with the Greek mythology, it goes with that too. It a lot of these stories were told from generations to generations. So a lot of these weren't written down. So there's going to be many different stories about what people remember about La Llorona or whatever other urban legends there is out there as well. Mentions of La Llorona can be traced back over 4 centuries, although the origins of the tale have been lost in time. She has been connected to the Aztecs as one of 10 omens predicting the conquest of Mexico, or as a fearsome goddess. One such goddess is known as, oh my gosh, these articles are going to kill me. The Chihuahua or snake woman, who has been described as a savage beast and evil omen who wears white, walks about the night, and constantly cries. Another goddess is that of the Chalchu Laku, or the jaded skirted one. I apologize, I'm butchering these, who oversaw the waters and was greatly feared because she allegedly would drown people. In order to honor her, the Aztecs sacrificed children. What? It's kind of like, if you guys are familiar with Beastmaster, they did that in there too as well. Hernan Cortez and La Malinche, or Malinche, may inspire La Llorona. An entirely different origin story coincides with the arrival of the Spanish in America back in the 16th century. According to this version of the tale, La Llorona was actually La Malinche, a native woman who served as an interpreter, guide, and later mistress to Hernan Cortez during the conquest of Mexico. The conquistador left her after she gave birth and instead married a Spanish woman. Despised now by her own people, it is said that La Malinche, or Malinche, murdered Cortez, spawned in vengeance. There's no evidence that the historic La Malinche, who did in fact exist, killed her children or was exiled by her people. However, it is possible that the Europeans did bring the seeds of the legend of La Llorona from their homeland. The legend of a vengeful mother who slays her own offspring can be traced all the way back to Medea of Greek mythology, who killed her sons after being betrayed by her husband Jason. That is the most normal name in Greek mythology I have read in a long time. The ghostly wails of a woman warning, even Medea is normal. The ghostly wails of a woman warning of impending death also share similarities with the Irish banshee. English parents have long used the tale of Jenny Greenteeth, who drags children down into a watery grave to keep adventurous children away from water where they might stumble in. Eventually, this terrifying figure has roots in many cultures, or evidently, the common origin story of La Llorona. The most popular version, which I believe is the one that we mostly see in the movies, um, of the tale features a stunning young peasant woman named Maria who married a wealthy man. The couple lived happily for a time and had 2 children together before Maria's husband lost interest in her. One day, while walking in the river with her 2 children, Maria caught sight of her husband riding by in her carriage, accompanied by a pretty young woman. In a fit of rage, any woman would do this. They'd be like, "How dare you!" Maria flung her 2 children into the— I don't think people would do that now, but flung her 2 children into the river and drowned them both. When her anger subsided and she realized what she had done, she succumbed to such profound grief that she spent the rest of her days wailing by the river in search of her children. Here is a depiction of— it's actually kind of cool. It's kind of haunting, of La Llorona carved in a tree in Mexico. That is kind of crazy looking. That's kind of cool too. In another version of the story, Maria cast herself into the river immediately after her children. In yet others, Maria was a vain woman who spent her nights reveling in town instead of tending to her children. After one drunken evening, she returned home to find them both drowned. She was cursed for negligence to search for them in her afterlife. The constants of the legend are always the dead children and a wailing woman. Either as a human or ghost, La Llorona is often spotted in white, crying for her children or mis hijos near running water. By some traditions, the ghost of La Llorona, is feared. She is said to be vengeful and sees other children to drown in place of her own. By other traditions, she is a warning, and those who hear her wails will soon face death themselves. Sometimes she is seen as a disciplinary figure and appears to children who are unkind to their parents. Terrifying testimonies of the weeping woman. Shelly, what is up? Leonor goes, hey, let me ask you, have you ever watched Coco, that grandma saying Llorona? You know what? I have, but I only saw it once, so I don't remember it. Carol goes, Lisa, I sent a story to your email about the lady in red. Carol, you know what? I'll read it after this. Dusty goes, I keep thinking of that song, yeah, Sharona. It's the Sharona, I think. Yeah, Sharona, or something like that. Or is there another one? Yeah. Because Leonora goes, there's a song that's based on that story. That song, the song in Coco is based on that story. Oh, you know what? I gotta watch it again now. You intrigued me. In 2019, the Hollywood film The Curse of Ya Llorona hit the big screen. The film explored La Llorona and pictured her as a tormented spirit attempting to tear apart a family. 3 years later, another film featuring La Llorona as a main character graced the horror genre. Ultimately, the story of La Llorona has captured the attention of millions worldwide. What started as a regional horror story spread into the global consciousness. No doubt, the growing interest in La Llorona stems from the thousands of real-world witnesses who claim to have encountered the terrifying spirit. In October of 2020, the Latin American news site Me Too published some of their viewers' most horrifying personal accounts of La Llorona. I've lived my whole life in El Paso, Texas. The culture is rich in folklore and religious beliefs. Many Hispanic families have stories of the paranormal. One night, just like any other night, I lived in a trailer with my mom and dad. My youngest brother was staying with my aunt that night. I fell asleep watching Jay Leno as usual, and when I woke up, I was on the sofa in my living room. The time was 4 a.m., which illuminated from the stove in the kitchen. The television was off, and normally I had a light on, but this time it was pitch black. I woke up and I heard a horrible screaming that was coming from far in the distance. The screaming was coming from a ditch that was a few feet away from my home. I heard it and I thought I was hearing things. It sounded like I was in a big hallway and a woman was screaming her guts out down that hallway. Then, in all the screaming, I started to make out words. The words being said by whoever this was at 4 a.m, screaming their guts out, shocked me. The woman said, Ay, mis hijos. Oh, my children. To this day, I don't care what people think of my experience. I know what I heard. A couple of years later, it happened to me again. Gunner girl, what is up? My mom is from a small town in Mexico located in Zacatecas. When she was around 14, she had the habit of waking her mom up to go to the restroom since it was an older home and the restroom was located outside. My mom told me that it was around 3 a.m. when she woke up and felt the need to use the restroom urgently, so she began calling out for her mom. After a while of her mom not responding, she began getting agitated and started screaming. At this point, my mom turns around and at the foot of her bed, she sees her mom standing there. She was wearing a white robe but had a very bleak expression on her face and both of her arms were extended. My mom said that she suddenly felt extremely cold and had a huge sense of dread. She had never seen her mom wear a white robe. That's when she looked down and saw her mom's feet weren't touching the floor. At that moment, she screamed and quickly threw the covers over her head. Her mom, wearing something completely different, runs to find my mom shaking in her bed. Nobody believed my mom. Everyone told her it was a dream. Until a few days later, there was a power outage. During this, my mom and a few of her siblings with her parents all decided to sleep in the living room. At around the same time at 3 a.m., they heard the same undeniable wails of La Llorona down the street. None of them slept that night. That is crazy. That would scare the bejesus out of me if I heard that. Definitely, if you hear shamanistic unicorn Tam, what is up? Definitely, if you hear a woman crying, mis hijos, mi hijos, stay away. Do not go toward it, please. I will not go toward that. I will leave her alone. because she will come after you. Because you can't, that's the kind of spirit you can't help unless you can find her e-host for her. Wendy goes, I'm not brave enough to do that. So much stuff, and I'm afraid to put it into words. That's definitely, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, that is a great story to tell. Leonardo, she was the one that ended them. Feels like the Outsider movie, but still, I feel like when there's a spirit like that, that's what they want, even though she was the cause of it. But I feel like that's, you can't, like I said, you can't help her. So that is like the kind of spirit you want to stay away from. Unless you happen to find her e-host that she's looking for, but I don't think you will. Um, but that to me would be a spirit to stay away from. And if I heard that, I would definitely not go in that direction. Oh, hell no. I don't even think I would try to investigate it. I'd be like, nope, uh-uh. I might, you know what? The only thing I would probably do if I ever heard that or it was in an area that had, sightings of La Llorona, I would probably put out like a trail cam or something, or a camera. That's about it. But I probably would not go out there. Leonardo's the influence, perhaps. No, stay away. Exactly. Do not go toward her. And luckily, in the stories of those people that had the actual experiences, they didn't go after the noise or the sound. Because I was waiting to read about that. I was like, well, watch, they're going to go out the front door and look like they do in horror movies. And you're like, no. All right, Carol. I don't know if I could share this because it's in my email. Because when I click on the link, it takes me somewhere else. Let me see if I can share this. Give me a second, guys. If not, I'll just read it to you guys. I might be able to. Oh, no, I can't. Actually, I probably can if I open it up this way, but I won't. I'll just read it to you guys. Carol, I was about to say Cheryl. Carol found an article about the lady in red. And it's written by a theater student in NYU that's from Houston, Texas, and she's 19 years of age. My best friend Maggie McMeans is a current freshman at New York University studying theater performance. I've known Maggie since I was 4 years old, for we have lived 2 houses apart since then. As young kids, Maggie and I would play almost every day after school and always on the weekends. Maggie has always been an extremely animated, perky character, but some days as a kid, she would seem a little off or disturbed by something. This would last a couple of days and then she'd go back to her normal self. I always asked her what was wrong, but she wouldn't tell me. One night, when we went on a camping trip, 11-year-old Maggie decided to tell me what had been bothering her for so many years at such random times. She told me about a lady in red that visited her about once or twice a year at night. I would continue to hear this story countless times over the later years of our friendship. So by the time I finally recorded this interview, Maggie's story was well rehearsed. The story. Dun dun dun! When I was about 5 years old, I woke up to a strange sight. It wasn't quite scary or anything, just compelling. Compelling, I would say, at least to a 5-year-old. I remember having a bad dream and waking up, or at least I thought I woke up. That part I'm not sure of. Anyways, I sat up in bed to the sight of a young woman, probably in her late 20s, wearing a long, flowing red dress. I couldn't tell if she was floating because the dress covered up her feet, but her gown flowed with a breeze and that was absent from my room. Like there was no wind at all in my bedroom and her dress was still moving. I don't remember what she said to me, but I do remember that she told me something that I later found out to be true. It was like she was a personal ghost psychic that came to predict my lame future. Every year, that same ghost visited me on random nights. Only a few nights a year, though, until I was 12. When I was 9, I remember finally telling my mom about the lady in red, and she confessed that the same thing happened to her and her two sisters when they were children and to their mother when she was a child. This is crazy. This ghost has apparently been finger quoted haunting the McMeans girls for generations, but we don't know why. Perhaps it's a dead ancestor paying her descendants a visit, or maybe we're just cursed. I was thinking cursed. Maggie has been telling the story for years, and every time she tells it, it becomes more like a performance. This is, as we discussed in class, an active barrier. The lady in red story seems to suggest that there were perhaps a past relative that died many years ago who feels as if she needs to look out for the women in her family, for she continues to come back and give them psychic advice. Stories from her mother and aunts seem to verify that the ghost must be real, but no women have officially recorded their experiences with the lady in red until now. But that is an awesome story. Wendy goes, an actual experience is not like the movies. Exactly, it isn't. Happened in Puerto Rico, and I took it home to the States. I do remember, Wendy, you telling us about that. Carol, thank you for that story. It was a great story. They wrote it wonderfully. I love stories that they write wonderfully. Because sometimes when you read those Reddit ghost stories, some of the people do not know how to write and they don't um say their story correctly. It's still a cool story, but it doesn't have that impact as if it was written correctly. Wendy goes, I try to shack the experience off, and it's been decades putting to words. I can't do it. I don't blame you, Wendy, if it was that bad. Sometimes you don't want to put it into words because it'll bring it back to existence. So I completely understand. Um, I've never had an experience like that to where I couldn't talk about it, but I get it. I think I will always talk about my experiences, but I understand because if you talk about it, it brings it back in a way, and you don't want that. So totally understand. All right, guys, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Could be about the stories we talk about, could be general questions. Carol sent 2 other ones. There's also, guys, feel free to ask questions. Carol sent 2 others. about the lady in red. Hold on here, because I cannot see this chat. Skeleduck, because I will forget, and I'll read Carol, I'll read one of them and I'll save the other one for next time. Skeleduck, guys, I even forgot where Skeleduck was. I have to think. Skeleduck is on my right, could be on your left, and he's right there. That is his beak peeking out from behind the poster. So he's right there. Right where my finger's pointing. Dun dun dun! Leonard goes, read Homer if you can. I will check it out. So I'm gonna go. Carol shared another story about a lady in red. This is a Nevada ghost story, retold by S.E. Schlauser, and I'll save the other one for next time. We didn't believe in ghosts, so when the fellow checking us in warned us that our room on the 6th floor was haunted, we just laughed. There were a lot of crazy people out there who believed in ghosts and wanted to stay in a haunted hotel, but Marie and I weren't two of them. I'd chosen the Misva for our weekend getaway because I'd like the description of the hotel and its amenities, not because it had a phantom. Just for kicks, Marie asked the fellow who was supposed to haunt her room. He told us that it was a ghost called the Lady in Red. She was a prostitute who was strangled by a jealous boyfriend, and her tormented spirit still lingered in the hotel. She was said to follow guests around and to play with the gaming equipment in the casino. A gambling ghost? I asked laughingly. The boy glared at me, and I was sorry for making a joke about something he obviously believed in. We said a hasty goodnight and went up to the 6th floor. As we neared our room, Marie gasped and grabbed my arm. I stopped and looked at her. She pointed wide-eyed toward the far end of the hallway. Before our eyes, the glowing figure of a woman came hurrying down toward us. I shivered superstitiously, my skin prickling in the sudden cold as she rushed past us and walked right through the wall next to our room. Good Lord, there really is a ghost in our room, I gasped. I'm not going in there, Marie said firmly. Her face was pale and her black eyes were wide with fear. No way. I didn't much feel like going in there either, but we had gotten a special deal for 2 nights, paid in advance and non-refundable. I didn't want to waste our money. In the end, I wrenched open the door, turned on the light, and investigated every corner looking for the lady in red. She was gone. Marie absolutely refused to set foot in the haunted room. In the end, I had to go down to the desk and request a room on another floor. The boy didn't say much when I told him we had seen the lady in red, but he gave me a know-it-all smirk that made me want to smack him and assign us to the room on another floor. Marie barely got a wink of sleep that night. She kept waking up, afraid that the lady in red would come walking through the wall and do terrible things to us. We were up at dawn and had checked out of the Misva by breakfast time the next day. From that day on, Maria always books our hotels, and she always made sure that there were no ghosts anywhere on the premises before she made a reservation. That story was cool. Dusty goes, just got home from being in town all day, didn't get a chance to look at for the duck. Wendy goes, best streaming spooky movies. They all kind of have their own thing. I'm not sure what streaming service you have. Like I said, I know Peacock has some things coming in. Max has some things. Tubi, it's free if you have that app. It's got a lot of old horror movies if you're looking for something spooky to watch. Uh, but it just depends on what streaming service you have. But I know they all have things going on. And I know AMC, I think, has a Fright Fest thing. I didn't see what they're playing, but Leonardo goes, I love the lady in white. Those 2 lady in reds were actually kind of awesome. I like those stories. Carol goes, sci-fi has been playing a lot of spooky stuff, so I know all the if you got cable as well. I don't have cable, but if you have cable, I know a lot of them are playing spooky things. And also if you got I know LG has it. You know how the smart TVs have their own like service where they have different things that they play. I know LG has it, and I have a Samsung, and it has it. They have a channel dedicated just for horror, which I pop on and I see. I go, what movie is that? I've never seen that one. Like they were playing what was it? I've seen it. It reminded me of Slumber Party, but it was another sorority roar or something like sorority something. And I've never seen it. And it popped up, and I was like, huh. Again, guys, for anyone that didn't catch it, Skeleduck is right on my right. It could be on your left. Um, and he's right where my finger's pointing. That is his little white beak pointing from behind the poster. Carol goes, we have Dish, Brothers pays for it, plus some of the streaming stuff. That's cool. I used to have Dish years ago. And then I just got rid of cable and just did the streaming, even though it's probably about the same price nowadays. Leonardo sorority party or something, and I caught in it, and I was like, I have not seen that one. It's one of those ones that where no one talks about them type of movies, but I'll still watch them because I find them there's some of them are cheesy though. Wendy goes, Skelly is in low profile mode. Yes, he is definitely. Emily goes, I actually found the little snit this time. Carol goes, it sucks in the winter. I have to clean the dish off from. Oh, that sucks with the ice and snow. Hopefully, the dish is in a place you can access it. Because if I had to do, because mine's on mine, I still have it on the roof. It's still on the roof, and it's kind of hard to get up there. So I'm hoping yours isn't that bad. But then I don't have snow in my area, so that's the only good thing. Leonardo goes, B movie horrors are the best up all night in my yes, they are. That's why I like watching them. Dusty goes, just got Apple Plus for this week for free. Been streaming Ted Lasso. Super cool. Wendy can't get a dish because of the tree. Carol, I'm glad your dish is something you could reach. That is awesome. Leonore, I agree with you. Somehow, no matter how bad, it's still good. I agree. I found some weird horror movies by doing that. And you get surprised by them. You're like, oh, that was pretty good. even though it was bad. So don't knock. It kind of reminded me because the scene I saw was like with a doll. So I was like, which one is this one? It's not Puppet Master, but then it ended up being the sorority one. I still have to see because whenever they talk about horror movies, they say basket case. I think it is basket head, basket case, one of those things. I gotta see that one. I still have to see that one. That's one I've never seen. I'm trying to get like all the ones that people talk about, and I'm like, you know what? I've never seen that one. Basket Case. Thank you, Matthew. I still have to see that one. I think it's on Tubi, if I'm not mistaken. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? Matthew saw Basket Case a long time ago on USA Up All Night. I'm sure they'll probably play it somewhere too. Are any of you guys going to do Wendy? Tubi is free. It's a free app. It's Tubi. T as in Texas, U as in Union, B as in bread, and I as in inside. And any of you guys, before I leave, are any of you guys going to do the 31 days of horror movies? I know a lot of people do that, but I'm just wondering if any of you guys are going to do that. I do that. I watch horror movies all year round, but it's literally you watch a horror movie a day in October for 31 days. Thank you, Lisa Boo. Thank you, Lisa. Great show. It's a free app. You can get it on your phone. I was able to get it on my TV. If you have a newer TV, you probably could get it. It has a lot. It doesn't have just horror. It has a lot of other things on there too, and it's free. But you have commercials. Scully Star Fashion goes, I watch horror movies all the time, but for sure in October. Matthew, okay, Basket Case is on Tubi and AMC Plus. Gunner Girl goes, yes, definitely. Thanks, Lisa. Your stories are always the best. Thank you, Gunner Girl. Leonore goes, the beginning. I watch classics, then to horror. Awesome, Leonore. Julissa, thank you. Lisa's the best. Thank you, Julissa. All right, guys, I'm going to end this stream here. I could deal with commercials. Leonore, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. We talked about mythology and urban legend. We went into the story of La Llorona, and we did the Telchines. Guys, I will see you on the next one, which will be Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared, stay spooky. And Sweet Nightmares. If you guys are on Twitch, DJ Lewis Love is going to go live. I don't know if he's live now, but I just got a thing that he's going to go live. So if you guys are on Twitch, check out DJ Lewis Love on Twitch. I believe he's going to go live. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. I will see you on the next one. Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Good night, guys, and thank you, and have a great rest of your week. I cannot talk today.